What's up, gamers? I'm your host, Cobra, and this is the Freeroll. Today, we're breaking down how to track your Riot Racers results. Today's video might feel a little bit boring, but it is vital if you want to be a Riot Racers champion or even competitive in the upcoming tournaments, and that is how to track your racing data. Now, if you're new to Riot Racers, you should know that it is a very in-depth strategy game. There are a lot of factors to consider and a lot of choices for you to make in your racing strategy, and racing strategy makes up 51% of the race outcome, so it's the most important part in determining whether or not you are going to win. Thankfully, the Riot Racers community has your back because a couple of the best community members that you've likely run into in the Riot Racers Discord, Ninja Panda and Reese, put together a quick start guide, which is linked below. And within that guide is a wonderful Google spreadsheet that makes it a lot easier to track your racing data. Trust me, I built my own spreadsheet and did this during the beta season, and it was a lot of work and my results were not super awesome. This spreadsheet is a major improvement. Quick programming note, because I know most of you aren't going to watch this whole thing. I always include timestamps below, so you can skip straight to the spreadsheet demo if that's the only part that you need to see today. Also, while you're there, double check that you've hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps support the channel. So before we jump into the spreadsheet itself, let's take a quick peek at the quick start guide. There are 3 pages here, so it's relatively simple to digest. And here on page 1, you can see this is mostly just some information about the project and game itself. Here on page 2 is a lot of terminology, and especially if you are new to either the blockchain or new to racing, then these will be helpful for you to understand when you're discussing race strategy. And then the meat and potatoes is on page 3, the Racing Strategy Beginner's Guide. And this goes over all of the basics in terms of how to start generating some strategy. I found this very helpful when I first jumped in because not only are there a lot of choices, you need to understand a little bit about what the different choices actually mean. So for example, when you're entering a race and you get to the braking strategy section, or braking technique rather, there's going to be 4 different options. And if I'm being honest, when I first started entering races, I didn't really understand what any of those options meant. I just picked one, tried it, and if it looked like it worked, then I kept it, and if it did not, then I tried something different. That is essentially how you're going to find the strategies that are most effective for various different race types, but it helps an awful lot if you understand what the difference between bulk braking and soft braking actually is. Then linked here towards the end of the strategy section is the spreadsheet itself, which we're going to jump into next. So let's jump right into the spreadsheet itself. And step 1 is maybe the most important one of all. You are going to create your own copy of this spreadsheet. Now, doing so requires that you have your own Google account. My assumption is that you all do. If not, it's totally free. Go ahead and sign up for one. This will allow you to save your data on your own personal Google Drive, and that will keep the results separate. If you simply enter your results into the spreadsheet as it is, then everybody will be able to see those results, and you'll effectively be helping everybody else just as much as you're helping yourself. So in order to create a copy, it's very simple. Pull up the spreadsheet via the link provided either below here or from the Quick Start Guide. Click over on File and then Make a Copy. Here you're going to have a chance to name it. Everything else you can leave normal, and then go ahead and click Make a Copy. It's going to pull up a new tab for you here in just a moment. It does take a second because this is not your simplest spreadsheet, but there it is, ready to go, and now we can start entering our personal results. So we've made our copy of the spreadsheet and we're ready to get going. The rest of this really is as simple as following the instructions here on the spreadsheet. Ninja Panda and Reese have made this very simple for you. So if you can read those and follow along, you are ready to go. But some of us are more visual learners, so I'm going to walk you through that process right now. All right, now you need to copy your actual race data. This, of course, assumes that you've completed some races already. You're going to head over to the Race tab and then click on Results. The default should be the Mine tab, but make sure you're clicked on the Mine tab when you do. And then we are going to navigate over to a pre-selected race that I have chosen, where I got first place with a legendary. And we're going to hit Command A, that'll be Control A if you're on Windows, and then Command C to copy it. That'll be Control C if you're on Windows. Once we've done that, we are going to navigate back to our spreadsheet, and I want to make sure that we are clicked on the E4 cell. And now, instead of a standard paste, we are going to do a special one, which is Command Shift V. And that adds our race results. If you're on Windows, that's going to be Control Shift V per the instructions. This will add the race conditions. It will add all of your choices for race strategy, and then it will add your results, including the time and position of finish. This is the magic of the spreadsheet, because there is no other clean way to just paste the results right in. You have to manually copy otherwise, which takes quite a bit longer. Then, once you've gone through and added a whole bunch of results, and to be clear, you're going to want to add as many as you can, because the more data, the better your analysis can be. But click over on the Selector tab, which is the second one, and what you're going to do now is select the race conditions for whatever race you are considering jumping into next. Since we want to take a look at this one, we know drizzle, cold as ice, and over analyzing. So we're going to do drizzle, cold as ice, and over analyzing. And it will show us all of our results. I forgot to click the submit button. That's where the script runs and adds your results. Now we can see this one here in the race data section, and we will see here that we have a result when we put in the matching race conditions. Now, the idea is you're going to put in a whole bunch of them, and it's going to pull up all of your results for that specific scenario. This makes it much, much simpler to take a look at which things worked in races where you did well and which things did not work in the races where you failed. You're going to want to continually refine your winning strategy with better adjustments so that you can improve over time and eventually find the ideal strategy for each condition that you want to be able to race. So you've got your spreadsheet loaded up with a bunch of race data. How do you analyze it and start improving your strategies? This part, honestly, is mostly just elbow grease and your own analysis, but I've got a few tips for you to make it a little bit easier. And the first tip is narrow it down to a single race strategy, maybe 2 or 3 if you're a little bit more organized, but make it focused down to just the strategy that you're testing out first, and work out a really good one for that, then move on to the next one. The way that you want to do that is by running a whole bunch of races and changing just one variable at a time. I recommend that you start off with something that you have already had a little bit of success with. Likely you have run races already and at least guessed at the right strategy. And in racing school, since there's only 3, you've probably stumbled upon at least a couple that worked out for you. Start out by testing that strategy again. And if it continues to work, you might already have a winner. Feel free to test it out in paid racing if you like. But to ensure that, what you're going to want to do is replicate that strategy a whole bunch of times and just change one factor in each subsequent run. So for example, if you wanted to refine your braking technique to make sure that you have figured out the best one for that set of racing conditions, you're going to need to enter it 4 times and use everything identical across the board, including the driver and all of the racing conditions, and then simply change only the braking technique that is chosen each time. Once you've done it for all 4 of them, you can compare those results, and the one that's turned out the best is likely the right choice for that set of race conditions. You can then move on to the next category and repeat that strategy until you have worked out the right choice for each one. One more final tip for you, because this is a big undertaking. Consider taking it on with your racing team or a group of friends so that you can work these strategies out together. If you do it that way, it divides up the work, and you can focus on one set of strategies and conditions, and your teammates or friends can focus on a different one. Then you guys can trade the results and analyze on your own or analyze together. And yes, you'll have difficulty beating each other, but that's not likely a huge concern because you're not always going to be racing against your friends. If you found this video helpful, and we certainly hope that you did, consider giving us a follow on Twitter. That's where I love to talk Riot Racers and play and earn gaming in general. I also can't help but answer your questions if you send a DM or shoot me a tweet. Also, if you haven't already, double check that you've hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps to support the channel.